because dramatic developments are happening at the same time. While he's at the podium, there's actually the attempt to interdict the proceedings of the Eastern Cape Provincial Conference of the ANC. So I come out of there to take you to eNCA's Aviwe Mtila, who is at the High Court sitting in East London. So Aviwe, locate us. Where are we at this point? Lubabalo Oscar Mabuyane is delivering his political report, but it actually at the moment seems like the attempts to get the process to be halted are gaining momentum.
Certainly, Bratulas, at the High Court at the Sanlam building here in Vincent Park in East London, where we're expecting Judge Lang to hear this urgent application. Already a number of senior officials from the ANC, including Ronald Lamula, and the court floor here, as we do understand, it is around that WB Khubusane region, and some of the branches that are being tried to stop from being part of the voting delegation. We do understand, of course, the bone of contention there is around the manipulation of those branches, and it's a matter, in fact, that you'll expect to creep up in those credentials if they do take place today, and the lengthy credentials. It's a matter, in fact, that one of the contenders of the chairmanship touched on earlier on, Babalo Matikizela, saying that it's one of the thorny issues going into this conference, and one, in fact, that will be delved in not only there but in this High Court here. We're expecting, of course, Judge Lang to look at this matter here quite extensively from 6 o'clock, and we expecting a possible outcome to determine whether these branches will go ahead and be part of the voting delegation. Earlier on in the media briefing that we heard from the PTT coordinator, Lulama Ngqaitobi, who's also part of the people inside court here, he did mention that there are 40 good standing branches from the Khubusana region that will be allowed to partake, part of the voting delegates that will be voting. But of course, there are those that are questionable branches that will be allowed to vote, but those votes will be quarantined, and then the issue there will be around whether they will make an impact in the final determination. But this High Court application is trying to stop that in its track and saying that those branches shouldn't partake at all. Of course, while Judge Lang is expected here at 6 o'clock, we will be speaking to some of the officials that we see here on the ground, including the PTTO coordinator, Lulama Ngqaitobi, just after the proceedings here when we hear that final outcome. But this matter, Bratulas, will not only stop here. I can almost assure you that it will come up in those credentials as one of those bone of contentions as to whether the Khubusana region, not only the Khubusana region, because we do understand also in the Chris Hani region there are those issues around the branches that have been manipulated, and suggesting that not all the branches there are to partake in the voting delegation. We understand there are some 1,500 vote delegates that are to partake in this conference, but of course this being that contentious issue that will put a spanner in the works into the voting that we're expecting either today or tomorrow, because we expect those even those credentials to be a lengthy process to adopt them.
Yeah. Yeah, as they always are, Aviwe, at these ANC conferences, an all too familiar story for the people involved in those processes. That's eNCA's Aviwe Mtila live for us from East London, where a High Court sitting is about to get underway, as some members of the ANC will be attempting to actually interdict the conference that has already gotten underway. That will do it from me for today. Stick around though, because more quality news and current affairs programming coming up throughout the rest of the evening here on eNCA.